About 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, I hurt my back so bad that I could hardly walk for a couple of days, and I'm still slowly recovering from it. And I would have been about maybe 38 years old at the time, but I've been suffering from back issues since I was 24. 24 is when my back first went into really bad spasm, and I couldn't walk for 3 days. Had to go to a chiropractor every single day for the first few days just to be able to get to walking again. And maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, I got an MRI on my back. I've got a bulging disc, L4, L5, but nothing more or less severe than most men my age. And many people would have a similar bulging disc or similar scenario without any symptoms at all. And so, about 2.5 years ago is when I had probably one of my more significant back injuries. And I say a back injury, I went for a run, back felt really uncomfortable afterwards, and it just progressed from there, where I then couldn't walk the next morning, struggled, excruciating pain to just even be able to stand up, getting out of bed. And ever since then, it's been both a physical and a psychological battle. But about maybe 2 years ago, I made the decision, because I've been athletic, I've been quite active and sporty my whole life. I've always played sports. I was quite lucky that I was never popular in school, but I was always naturally pretty decent at sports. So I'd always get picked for sports teams, which is probably one of my only saving graces. Otherwise, I got bullied loads and really didn't like school. But at this point, 2 years ago, I was getting really down. I was depressed, and it was all because of my back. Every day I would wake up and I wouldn't know, what's today going to be like with my back, and I would live in fear. Is it going to go into spasm again? Am I going to be in that excruciating pain again? Don't play sports. Don't do this. Don't lift that. Don't train in the gym. But as soon as you stop using something, all of the other muscles that support it and help it also become weak. And it just becomes a bit of a downhill spiral. So one of the first discussions I had with myself, and one of the ways that I was helping myself get through this, was drinking. And I don't mean, I wasn't an alcoholic by the socially accepted definition of the term, but I was using alcohol to feel better. I would have, maybe 1 or 2 drinks in an evening after work, just to de-stress, but also to get myself out of my own head about all of the things that would trouble me in life, and my back being a pretty significant one at that time. But as most of us know, alcohol is inflammatory. So I had to have a bit of a hard word to myself, and I said, look, Glennon, if you're so down about your back and you're actually serious about wanting it to be better, why are you consuming something that is inflammatory? And I was maybe drinking 3 days a week. And again, not lots, 1 or 2 drinks a night, maybe 3, if it was like on a weekend, or 4. But if it was on a weekday, maybe it was like a beer after work, or even a beer and a half. So it wasn't huge. But it was still impacting my sleep. It's still causing inflammation in my body, which is never going to help if you've got an injury. And so I said to myself, if I'm actually serious, and if I'm getting upset, and if I'm getting frustrated, and if it's having an impact on my family, then why am I still consuming this substance that is very obviously not helping me physically? And so that was the reason why I went pure cold turkey and stopped drinking. And that was about nearly 2.5 years ago now. And it's changed my entire world. I've since lost 20 kilos. I go to the gym and strength train every second day now. And I do 100 push-ups every day. I've committed to doing a minimum of 5 wide grip pull-ups every single day of this year. My body is in better shape than it's ever been in my entire life, even though I was more athletic when I was younger. But right now, I'm at 13% body fat since my last scan. Not that it's a super accurate scan, but my muscle mass is good, my bone density is good. And all of this came off the back of making that one choice, stopping alcohol, because alcohol was causing me to be inconsistent. If I had 2 drinks, if I had even 2 beers, I would wake up the next morning feeling groggy. My sleep would suck. Alcohol would make me more hungry. What a lot of people don't know is that alcohol is a depressant and a suppressant, and it stops your body's ability to absorb nutrients whilst you're drinking. And so the food you eat when you consume alcohol is basically like meaningless calories. And on top of that, your body can't metabolize any calories or any food outside of the alcohol you drink while you're drinking alcohol. So imagine what happens to all of that food, even just when you're having those 2 beers in a night, or 1 beer in a night, or whatever it may be. And so quitting drinking alcohol created this snowball effect for me that had so many positive impacts on my life, on my diet, on my physical health, on my mental health. The way that my anxiety went from, peaks and troughs to a much more steady and manageable, ups and downs. There's just so many benefits. And if I'm to leave one thing, first and foremost, and the reason for this post is my back is getting better every day. I'm getting stronger every single day. And that makes me happier and that impacts my mental health positively. But also in society and socially, we're led to believe that drinking is normal, and it's the only drug that if you give up, people think there's something wrong. It's like, oh, what's wrong? Are you okay? Did you have a problem? Like if you gave up smoking, no one's going to be like, oh, are you all right? Did you have a problem? What's wrong? What's going on? And so people have this belief that alcohol is this social lubricant that we need or we use to have fun. And if you think about this logically, so are we then saying that anytime we don't drink, there's a level of fun that doesn't exist inside of us? Are we saying that before we ever drank, when we were 14, 15, 16, whatever it is, that we couldn't be fun, we couldn't socialize, we couldn't make friends? Well, that's obviously not true, because we had friends, we have friends, we made friends, we had great times, we went to the park, we rode our bikes, we played games, went to Time Zone, played arcade games, had conversations with people. What we don't realize is every time we drink, we're losing a bit of ourselves and disguising it as fun. And if this can urge anyone to reduce their level of alcohol consumption even a little bit, it would make my whole world. But just know that there is a world out there when you get outside the norm of drinking that you uncover, and it probably takes a few months or maybe even a year, but you uncover it and it's like, wow, I don't ever need to drink ever again.